So she makes up some of that start value in just a beautiful execution.
And despite being at a 9.75 start value, she's scored a career high of a 9.375, which was last week, actually. So coming off of her best ever vault, hoping to continue that momentum. Brianna Wakel up next for Hamlin. There's a bit of discrepancies in the score, so sometimes the judges have to have a conversation if there is a significant 10th difference between the two judges' scores.
Yeah, especially if that's in start values. It just means that maybe a judge saw something or missed something that the other didn't, or decided to count a skill that the other didn't, and they need to figure out where they want to start the routine at to keep some of that consistency. Deductions are okay if there's a little discrepancy, but with start values, you really want to make sure you're on the same page.
How hard is that to wait for the judges to salute?
You really, some gymnasts, oh, beautiful pack, have different methods. Some like to stay super in the zone. Others you'll see goofing off, smiling, dancing around, not letting the nerves get to them. Beautiful routine. Really loved her pack. That was her transition from the high to low bar, kept her legs glued together. That's going to be a very high scoring routine for Hamlin. A 1.5 twist. Very cool. We don't see that often in college gymnastics across the board. So very cool to see.
Take a look at the scores here. Simpson is leading the way with a 46.7 and Hamlin trails behind with a 44.25. Kaylin Talley, as we saw, the finale of Simpson's vault lineup with a 9.475 as the highest total, and Brianna Wakel with a 9.35 to lead Hamlin's bar team. And I know Simpson, the head coach Emily Barrett-Payne mentioned that Oshkosh, which was at the end of January, their meet was their turning point of the season. These girls have a lot of expectations that they were placing on themselves, and once they realized that those weren't serving themselves, they've been since making progress in various ways, as you can see reflected in the score, having dropped a 9.0. So a very strong performance by Simpson, as well as Hamlin, who Doug mentioned that they really focus on 4 things: faith, determination, responsibility, and progress. And so taking responsibility in their training to see that progress. And you can see that visible right here, as their previous 2024 season high was a 44.0, and they just beat that by 2.25 tenths. So great performance by both teams. And we are going to take a short back and then be back with Simpson on the bars and Hamlin on the vault. Don't go anywhere.
Five and a half. So definitely an improvement from last week, and right on track of where they want to go.
And like we said, sticks are contagious. So the last two were able to get that stick and end the beam rotation on the high note. Brianna Wakel up now for Hamlin, the senior, and she actually has had a new career high on every event this season just by being a senior too. So we talk about how it's constantly improving, and those numbers just go to show that they're constantly striving for more. She actually also almost quit her freshman year. She is from Hawaii, one of the very far travelers for college gymnastics, did online school over COVID her freshman year, trained at her own gym at club, not on a team, and then this year she's voted team captain by her team. So excellent growth by senior Bri.
There too, that kind of determination. You really want that from a leader on the team, just showing how much work and effort goes into gymnastics, and really just the commitment to the sport.
And as much as the coaches lead this team, they're also the upperclassmen, or in Simpson case, the sophomores, lead the team and show the ropes on just what it means to have integrity and accountability and fight during the hardest times. No college student wants to be getting up at 5 in the morning to go practice, but they pave the way and show those underclassmen how it's done.
Absolutely. Beautiful routine from the senior. We saw some really nice sleeps. And that concludes the floor rotation, at least.
Is exactly that. She is setting herself up to be able to compete on all 4 events rather than limiting herself to just beam and floor, which would have happened, unfortunately, if she did not go through with this surgery. So ending her season early to hopefully have a larger contribution in the long end is such a mature decision. And I just can't get over the maturity that some of these athletes are displaying here today.
Yeah, that's such a hard decision in the moment, because you want to keep competing, you want to keep contributing, and it's so hard to make that decision of, well, this is actually what's best for me long-term, for long-term success. So really kudos to her for making that decision, and for her team to be supporting her in that way is also really important.
Absolutely, and the support from the team to do what's best for yourself at the end of the day as well, not only for the team, but yourself and your health. It's very cool to see.
Looks like there's another judges conference happening. They might be in disagreement about the scores.
In Brooklyn, Morgan, the first competitor for Simpson got a 9.125 as a starter for floor. And she's actually teammates with Winter, another Simpson gymnast. So fun to be teammates in club as well as at the collegiate level.
And a 9.1 with a fall is a really impressive score. So while she may be slightly disappointed that it's not in her usual 9.5 range for the team, it's still a good start, and they're going to want to lead up from there.
Hey, how does this little portable charger work?
Ooh, cool combination there we don't see often. Back tuck to back tuck. It's very solidly connected, which is pretty tricky to do for a combination like that. So we saw this gymnast do a cartwheel. If you're thinking, why is she doing a cartwheel in her beam routine? It's because there's a requirement that you have to have a back skill and then a front or side skill. So she doesn't have, since she goes back tuck, she doesn't have any front or side skills, so she needs to add that cartwheel in. And a beautiful dismount to finish up. Really, really good routine for Hamlin. It's going to be a high scoring one as well.
It's still not going.
And Bri has worked really hard at getting that start value as close to a 10 as possible throughout the years and has improved it by several tenths, up now 4.
Yes.